Hey parents, so let's talk about, what is one of the number one struggles that we're seeing in kids nowadays, um, more than we have in the past. In the last five histories that I've taken with kids, this has been on every single one of their intakes, and numerous more kids that we see in the office on a regular basis, and that is anxiety, right? Why are so many kids struggling with anxiety nowadays than ever before? What has changed? Biggest thing that we hear from parents, because it's what they're being told, is that, it runs in the family, right? I'm anxious. My husband deals with anxiety. Our parents dealt with it. My aunt and uncle even dealt with it. And not to say that that's not correct, because it is, right? Family does play a part. But it's actually only one, one card out of the deck of cards that's going on. We have to look at, what's going on, what else is going on in that kid's environment, okay? And this is where, we tend to look at it more on a short term. We look at it like, anxiety still started last year. Let's look at what struggles, what has happened in the last year, that maybe initiated that. And nothing wrong with that. It's part of the picture again. But we have to look deeper, because a lot of these issues, they stem, from day one, even before we entered into the world, or before they entered into the world. It starts with the pregnancy. It starts with the birth process. And when we look at these kids' histories, and it was exactly, we were seeing it exactly like I'm going to talk about just right now in these last five case histories, especially when we get to the birth process. So it all starts with the pregnancy, right? So everything that you as a mom experiences, our baby is experiencing that exact same experience. So, if we experienced a lot of emotional stresses, maybe we had a loss, right, in the family. Maybe we left our significant other. Maybe we had a loss of income. Maybe we moved, okay? Or maybe we are, what are the chemical stresses that we're facing during pregnancy? What are the physical stresses? We as humans, we face a lot of stress on a regular basis anyways. But when we look at pregnancy, it's not like we start fresh. We take all that stress that we face on a regular basis anyways, and now we're going through a lot more physical postural changes during pregnancy, going through a lot of chemical hormonal changes, and we're going through a lot of emotional because of that. So it is, a stressful time no matter what. But then, we get to the birth process. And that is, this is where we saw it. I saw it in every single one of the last five, and I see it about 80 to 90% in a lot of these other kiddos, and so do other docs that I train with on a regular basis. And that is interventions during the birth process. And what are interventions? Interventions, are induction, they're epidural, they're C-section, vacuum, forceps, even large doctor hands. Look at that ratio of doctor hands compared to baby's head. Big difference on that. So, why is that important? Because that adds increased stress to that delicate nervous system, delicate, head and neck of that baby. Obviously, we know that birth process is a stressful event for mom already, but it is also a very stressful event for infant. Especially what we see a lot in the connection is with these kiddos that deal with anxiety is induction. Induction, we've seen this across the board, and again, especially even with the other docs that I train with, they see it too, over and over, is that induction kind of initiates that stress response. What we call that sympathetic overdrive, fight and flight, protective mode, right? Because induction, kicks into overdrive, kicks our stress response on to get that delivery initiated. But the thing is that sticks in that kid's nervous system, and if it isn't addressed, their body's already kind of into that stress response. So, we should be here, and, that induction kind of kicks on to that stress response, and, then we are faced with, a lot of other physical, chemical, and emotional stresses from the diet that we're eating to, what are we taking in from our environment? What physical stresses, what emotional stresses, and those add up. So we're here, then we add and add and add those stresses on a regular basis, and that kicks us more into a state of stress. And what that does is when we get stuck into that stress response, our protective mode, our body loses that ability to adapt to our environment. And that is key in these kids. Is key in, everyone's health, is having a body that is going to be able to adapt well to their environment. Or in these kids, their body's not able to adapt properly, which is why, a little trigger and it sets them into a state of anxiety. So what we need to do, it's, the medical system isn't wrong. It's not that they don't have the best interests of these kids or adults that deal with anxiety in mind. It's just that, when it comes to what they're taught, they're not taught the intrinsic function or anatomy of how the nervous system works. So, that's why they have the medications, they have, the other routes that go, but, we're not truly then addressing that underlying nervous system issue. So what really needs to be done is we need to, locate where that stress is so that we can then do very specific chiropractic and gentle adjustments to, that nervous system and calm that nervous system down so that we can get them into a more calm, healing, growth and development state, so that then their body can increase their adaptability so that they can adapt better to their environment and they don't get into these anxious states. So if this sounds like your kiddo, or someone, maybe your aunt or an uncle or a grandparent, or you are a provider or a teacher that, a kid that is dealing with anxiety, and it just, whatever you guys have done has maybe helped a little, but hasn't gotten them to be able to adapt better to their environment, then, comment below, share this, get this information out so more people can benefit. But if this, caught your eye at all, join us at our next Perfect Storm or our next anxiety, ADHD, and sensory workshop, where we're going to be digging through a lot more information into why these kids are struggling and what you can do as, as a parent, as a grandpa or grandma or grandpa, or as a provider or, educator, and getting these kids, to calm down, to be able to better adapt to their environment so that they're not having to struggle with this anxiety. So we look forward to seeing everyone, and just, get answers for you. So remember, we're here to build happy, healthy families. Have a great day. Bye.